Mike McDaniel, welcome to SuperReturn North America. It's great to have you here.
It's great to be here.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights. Obviously, you just presented to a room full of people who are looking to create, dynamic, successful teams. Sounds a lot like a football team. So what would you offer as your insights in terms of building that kind of successful team?
Well, I think if you're bestowed the privilege of leading that process, I think I think approaching it with the humility that you will be only as good as the people supporting you, and I think that there's a significant investment that needs to be made into choosing who you invest in, so that those are the right candidates to invest in you. And I think the cultures are created by people and are an expression of a collective of people, so those should be treated with the regard that they deserve. Team
selection is key in how that team slots together.
Yep, absolutely. And it's there has to be a motivated purpose that whether you have to, it's ingrained to think of team over individual. I think from my vantage point, success as a team leads to individual success, and that's pretty standard in life when you're in a scope of business and whatever business you're in. So I think getting a group of people to work greater than their individual parts together is the name of the game.
And that rewarding kind of shared goal, you can't really sort of match that anywhere else in life if you have that shared goal and achieving it together and that feeling of achieving it as a team.
Yeah, I think it's I think for me it's important to understand that inherent conflict that much of which the gifts of being on a team, everyone's experienced. There's something special to that reaching a common goal together is much more satisfying than reaching individual goals. But the bottom line is to maximize individual success. Regardless of circumstance, the success of the team, individual success, whatever that would be maximized. So I think to really achieve something as a group, you have to kind of disarm yourself and lean in to the collective goal.
It's kind of the sum of your parts point that you
Absolutely.
were kind of making. Inevitably, in those sort of teams, you've just touched on it, there are going to be superstar individuals, the big signings, and it's the same in this industry. You might have a fantastic investor who's been hugely successful. How do you bring those individuals into a team and not disrupt the team dynamic and make sure you get both the best out of that individual, but it doesn't sort of damage the team?
Yeah, I think it's important to help provide vision of empathy for their teammates, for the individual star player, in terms of call a spade a spade. The standards and the accountability that this team needs for you to be successul. There is heavy as the crown, so to speak. So, how you do the little things is what you can expect your peers to do, and for them to support you in your high pressure situation that generally you have more onus on the ultimate result. You need more than anybody teammates to do well and to support that high pressure situation with good team, whatever that is. So I think just understanding the lay of the land, and as a leader, acknowledging what the star player has to be successful at, which is not only starring, but being an example of how you want things done.
Absolutely, because as you described, the crown can be pretty heavy for
yes,
that individual
absolutely.
To wear. With that in mind, and obviously expectations on individuals and teams, but in a field like you're in, obviously there's going to be challenges and there's going to be losses and there's going to be disappointment. So how do you go forward when that's happened, and how do you motivate your team when things aren't going right? Because obviously you're on a high when they're great, but what happens when things don't go quite right?
Well, every team, needs to be treated with the regard of its individual entity of its own and personalized. But in that journey, I try to let no circumstance go by where you're expressing, okay, well, this any sort of adversity, and then let's keep score of how life works and how successful businesses happen and how true innovation occurs and how greatness is achieved. Well, it's in step with the adversity, I think the game of avoiding adversity is the death by inches, because it's not that. That's not the game. It's being good at something and then having the challenge to reproduce that and improve in other areas. And if you're not up for that continued growth, you're probably going to be left behind in some way, shape, or form.
Because adversity builds resilience, and that's an amazing quality.
Yeah, well, it's the only thing that develops character, develops growth, develops acumen. Like, any analogy you want. I think Steph Curry in basketball just hit 4,000 3-pointers, which is 1,000 more than the next person. And just imagine how many shots he missed.
Absolutely.
So, you're the best hitter in the Major League Baseball if you hit the ball 33% of the time. I think within all successes, if you unpack it, there is adversity, and I just don't. I think that is the natural inevitability that you have to acknowledge and lean into.
And an incredible amount of hard work. We see the tip of the iceberg with these guys, and the work that's gone on under the water before all of that is not what we see.
No, there's thousands upon thousands of reps that no one will ever see. And I think that, but the idea to me is every moment or every day is an opportunity, and there's an opportunity cost to choose not to work, and ultimately you'll pay for it when everyone can see. So you're constantly, prioritizing those moments that everyone can see the final product, but within that there's equal, if not more, priority on the work to have 11 people move in cohesion, where the difference in success or failure, sack, fumble, turnover from 60-yard touchdown is half a step that maybe the right tackle was too short on, or vice versa. There's a lot of coherence that has to go into that in any highly competitive situation where teams are the best of the best. You're going to have to find ways to have a competitive advantage, and that's through practice and repetition.
If there was one key takeaway from that audience that you spoke to today, obviously private capital leaders in that room, what would you hope that they would take from listening to you and your insights?
That I answered the questions they wanted me to. I think it's cool, refreshing when there's commonality across fields. And, for me, I see those very clearly within the game of football as analogous to the game of life. So, hopefully there's, one person is all really that matters to me. You affect one person, it was definitely worth your time. You've contributed some way, shape, or form. So hopefully the message of adversity is an opportunity might sit well with them.
Well, this one person has really enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah?
Thank you so much for sharing
Awesome.
your insights with us. It's been great to chat to you, Mike.
Thank you.